Hey, Darrick, it is so good to finally have you here in Michigan. We've been talking since about March 2023, and we finally got you out here. You made the move to get out here and come see what was going on in here in Michigan. One of the things that we had is we had a particular area where we felt there's a mother, maybe a baby, and possibly one or two adolescents. So we went out there with you, spent about 3-4 days out there, rain, sunshine, and it didn't take long. And you found 4 footprints. You found the 2 separate, which we believe belonged to the same creature, found a left and a right. And then we found 2 together, which is probably to another creature, maybe a smaller one. And had between, I think, a 5 and a 6 foot stride. Is that what we talked about?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, but one castable print. And we've got pictures of that, video of us putting that together, you getting the fix all together, pouring it, just showing us how to do all that. So we thank you so much for coming out here to Michigan. And we noticed you got the American flag shirt on right now. And next year in 2024, we're adding a podcast, and we're actually going to expand on Bigfoots of Michigan, and we're going to have another branch of it, and that's going to be called Bigfoots of America. Because this year we started kind of traveling around. We went to Kentucky. We're lined up to go to Alabama in November. And then we already have invites to Montana, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. So we're going to add Bigfoots of America. And we're asking you to be a part of the team, be the Idaho chapter. And so we're really excited about that. So to match your shirt right here, right now, we have the new Bigfoots of America hat. Pretty cool. So welcome aboard, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's all been kind of accumulating to this moment. To get your story about how you got involved with Sasquatch. I started back with In Search Of, the $6 Million Man, being fascinated with Sasquatch and Bigfoot. And then, about 10 years ago, started watching some YouTube videos, getting into it. And then I was on set for a TV pilot series, and I met Aaron Young. And he had such a wonderful account of his experience of, kind of going eye to eye with a Bigfoot in his episode. And so your story is actually amazing. Your initial seeing of a Sasquatch, and then you've had some other encounters as well. So that's why we're here. That's why we're sitting down right now. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got started and all your encounters.
Well, thank you, Bryan. Originally it started off, you guys don't even know this part. Back in 1975, my family bought some property. And in 1976, I do remember my first ride from a land far, far away. It seemed like an incredible amount of time. It's roughly about 4 hours away from my hometown. We got up to the woods. We drove through the woods, and we were looking at just trees. And my dad had this plan of building this cabin. Well, we would go up there at a month at a time, and we started working on this house. Of course, I was just a kid, and I really didn't have no job except get in trouble. Any kind of distance was an incredible amount of space for me. And this time, on the second summer, I got a little bit too far away from home. I got probably 150 feet.
Okay.
And as I still remember this, I looked down at the ground, and I see almost looked like a fin to a swimmer. And I ran back to the house, and I told my dad all about this, and of course it was this, okay. And I still remember it was like a 3-toed thing.
Okay.
And he come out, and he dismissed it as not much. Well, ever since then, ever since I was just a little towhead, I've had this wonder about Bigfoot. Is it real? Is it not? And then, life carries on, and everyone always jokes about it. Everyone always says, hey, man, there's that monster out there. Watch out for it. Well, I was an adult. I was 21 years old in 1995. A friend and I, he picked me up one early morning, and we went out to go hunting the last weekend of regular season in Idaho.
Okay.
It was, I do believe, October 28th, 1995. We drove probably about an hour away from my hometown, Lewiston, up into the woods, and we started off at 4:30 in the morning, and we got up to where we were trying to look for something more to do, like by 8 o'clock. So we did get behind a couple closed roads, and we got way back in to some land that was not posted. It was just state land, and it was by Darrick Reservoir. And we went off and we went hunting, man. We made our tent, our camp, and we went off, did our own hunt. We came back, and one thing that I noticed right away, that where we were, there was no other hunters. If we did hear a shot, it was so far away that we were alone.
Okay.
We had tons of sign. We had no animals.
No animals whatsoever.
No. There's no birds chirping. We just couldn't even see a deer. And we were figuring we were already back there far from all the pressure that's been there for the last 3 weeks. This last weekend, we were going to give it all we could. And we got back to where we thought we had a chance. So we went off that afternoon. We hunted our own different directions. We came back. Well, we decided, hey, it's getting dark. Do you feel comfortable about doing a little nighttime hunting? And we both agreed, yeah. So we went off and, using the spotlight, we didn't see nothing. So I guess we didn't really break no laws.
Okay.
We came back to camp. We parked. Our rig was probably 80 feet from the fire. The fire was just a little ember still. So I went up there, squatted down, threw some kindle back onto the fire. And that's when this sound I'll never forget. And this is like the one thing in my whole passion, the whole career, the whole everything after this has taken place. I wish I had recorded.
Okay.
It was something that I've only heard once. I've never heard it ever again. And from what I understand, I have a few Nez Perce friends, and they say that Sasquatch is real in their traditions too, in
Right.
their culture, in their lands, and their Bigfoot or Sasquatch or man of the woods makes multiple sounds.
Okay.
As chief of the woods, he's able to talk with other animals. He's there to communicate. He can lure. He can be deceptive. He can do whatever he wants to do. And that's almost exactly what I heard, witnessed by my friend that was standing 3 feet from me.
Okay.
It was so loud, it started off like an elk bugle. It went into whomps and wails and coyote cries and chuckles and it ended in just this big, it's just really thick. And we were just staring into the dark right past our tents. And this probably happened 10 to 13 seconds. I mean, it seemed like an eternity. And then after it was none, it was just dead quiet. I had maybe a spark. I think the fire popped. It kind of got our attention. I looked at him, and our jaws just did the WTF.
Okay.
No words come out. And I was like, hey, where's our guns? He's like, they're back in the rig. So we more than double timed it back to the rig. Got our guns. We realized the spotlight was still plugged in.
At this point, were you thinking maybe it was a bear or something?
At this point, I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
I mean, did Sasquatch pop in my head? No, I don't believe it did.
Okay.
I know that nothing like this in the woods has ever happened to me. And like I said, I started off in the woods at a very young age. I worked in the woods before I was 21. I hunted, I don't know how many times, ever since I was 12,
Sure.
I was a successful hunter. I wasn't scared of nothing. I mean, everyone is bulletproof at 21.
Sure.
But this legitimately scared me. I had goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now, just reliving it. We put the spotlight up there, and that's when everything I ever known, ever was told, ever read, everything just dropped out. It was there. It was braced in between two trees.
Okay.
It did not like the light. It like that, and it was gone.
Wow. So when the light was on it, as soon as the light hit it, it put its arm up to kind of cover its own eyes, and then just
either that or just let go and just. I mean, it boom. It was gone.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect the color that I seen. Maybe the light was real bright, but to me it was very grizzed. I mean, if it had grizzed hair, meaning the tips were white, it looked gray.
Okay.
It looked like something I'd never seen before. And then reality just drops out. Something that is not supposed to be real is.
Yeah.
And where you're at. You know that you're alone. You know that where you're at because there's no one there. And then it was gone. A spotlight only goes into thick timber that far.
Sure.
So that goes our plans for dinner.
Right.
So we built the fire up, and of course we had our guns. I think we even rearranged the rig so we could put the headlights up where we're at.
Okay.
Getting there, making camp. We never really collected that much firewood. Well, we had to get wood. Yeah, I mean, really, we had to go around and collect enough to get this thing going good. We didn't really hear it, but as the evening went on, we would hear boom, boom, boom. I mean, something was walking there, and thank God there was someone else there because we could confirm. Did you hear that?
Sure.
And to step away from the fire. It was a dark night. It was cloudy. It was dry. There's no rain. There's no moon. There's no stars. So once you got past that light, I mean, everything cast a shadow, and it was dark. And there was something walking here, there, behind us, back up here again.
So you think it was more than one creature?
Not necessarily. I just felt like something was looking at us.
Okay.
Walking around.
Okay.
Why it made those sounds to us, I think it didn't. We never found it. It was never lost.
Right. Right.
I think he was looking at these two weird dome tents, 3-man dome tents. There's no rig around. I mean, he was just looking.
Sure.
And we got there, and he just spoke to us very, very loudly. We didn't communicate, I know that, because what we were going to say never came out.
Okay. So he was not happy that you were there, basically.
I can't say that, but I know I wasn't happy he was there. I know that. Yeah. It was very, very, it was a fearful night. We stayed up probably till both of us physically outside of our tents till probably 2 a.m.
Okay.
We just decided, hey, we have enough wood built up. Let's build up the fires, go in our tents, which I was really hesitant because, you can't turn your head and see what's behind you when you're in a tent.
Right.
And, you hear people, they see the hands go across the back of the tent, Well, I told my friend, I go, hey, if you got to get out of your tent at any time of the night, because I doubt if I was going to sleep,
for sure,
that you
right.
Let me know. I mean, even if I don't answer you, you let me know. Because if I seen a shadow between the fire and my nylon tent, I was going to shoot before I asked questions. I was not going to confirm who that was.
Did you get a feel for how big this thing was? How tall, how wide?
We did after, I mean, it was fast. I mean, it was that fast when the light got on it. I was really, the woods moved right there.
Okay.
And then the next morning, basically about 6 o'clock, right when I could barely see any kind of light on the horizon, I was out of my tent. And I'd been up getting Tom's attention, waking him up if he even did go to bed. I was getting him up because I was outside. I was making sure that fire was up. I don't know. It wasn't going to save me. I know that.
Right.
But it made you feel a little bit more comfortable. That morning, I got up to see whereabouts It was, and you know the same trees. You know, there's probably a 4-foot span in between those trees, and he was just snugged in there, man, like that.
Wow.
Just kind of leaning out over. You know, there was probably a 2-to-1 slope behind our tent, so you know, add another 20 to 30 feet up that hill from us. It was pretty dang close. So probably within 110 feet from the spotlight to him, that's what we seen. And it was real fast. And so from there, like I said, it was too dry. There wasn't any evidence, but during that night we hear like this whoosh, it wasn't limbs something, but what I discovered, we would come up to like alder brush or even like the limbs, green limbs on white fir trees, where they were just, something grabbed them, just like if you tied it to a drive line, and it just started twisting it.
Wow.
And the wood would fabricate. And I do believe that's what I was hearing was whoosh, I mean, whatever it was not normal. I guess it was natural, but I never heard that before out in the woods either.
Sure.
So being the fact it was dry and it was noisy. You can only be so quiet at night and when it's dry. So that morning we did stay together and we did hunt together. I know when I would stop because I thought I'd seen something, my friend, he would bump right back into me. It's like, man, what are you doing? He's like, I'm looking that way.
Right.
And it's like,
so,
yeah,
your behavior has been changed a little bit.
Yeah, both of us been altered for sure. So we never really went that far. There's nothing. It was cold. It was dry. I was burnt. I was tired. We probably went no more than a half an hour out, and we came back together. We got our stuff back in the rig. I never looked back. I've never been back there ever since.
Cool.
And so who do you tell? I mean, you're both still just in awe.
Yeah.
I mean, even as much as what just happened, the ride was kind of quiet on the way home. Then, you know, we would talk about it. Of course, when you get home, you tell your parents about it. But really, it's like, is this another story?
Right.
So I kind of held on to that for a while. And you'd only, you know, I said a few things to a few people until, you know, you get the first something that was from someone very ignorant that has no idea. Yeah,
exactly.
And so you just kind of quiet down about that. So I went back to school, back to college in 96.
Okay.
So about a year later, where I had access to the internet now. I did a little bit of networking. I looked up into the BFRO. I compared stories, and one thing I noticed about that, you know, you always knew that. I think they do a little bit better job now by who puts what on there.
Okay.
But there's a lot of hocus pocus, people making the stupid comments about this and that. Yeah, but I found a few people that, you know, you knew what they were living through because as a writer, they were writing something, ensuring the reader that, you know, they are familiar with the woods. They do go hunting. They've been doing it for many years, and what they've seen was not explainable.
Right.
And they're a different person because of that.
Yeah.
They don't ever care to go back to that place. So I kind of held on to that, and I kind of bounced in and out of it. And then finally, I quit a good job, and I just kind of funded my own expedition looking for my own answers. So it kind of took me off into the West Coast, over by Molalla and Estacada, and up by Mossy Rock, over the Cascades, Eatonville, ended up in Walla Walla, and what a trip, you know. It was probably about a week long. I think I had the stats written down once, about 1,800 miles, met a lot of people.
Wow.
I came back more intelligent. I came back not witnessing another one.
Okay.
But now I had a network of people that I could keep track of. Some people have changed since their experience, but some people who haven't really had an experience knew more than most.
Okay.
just because who they're affiliated with. So, and furthermore, the person that knew the most lived closest to me. So I would frequent with him, and we would go out into the Blue Mountains. And most of all, what made me different from other people is I was still looking. I was still on the hunt.
Okay, still wanting to see it again.
I still wanted to have answers to my questions.
Right.
And, someone can tell me, show me. Now I know what more to look for.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tangible evidence, you sent this to me a couple of months ago.
I did.
Yeah. Why don't you give me a little bit of history on this and what it's all about? Right over there, we have the print. Like right now, we're in the bomb camper. Not too far from where we pulled that print over there out of the soil. And excited to show the folks at home what that one looks like. But you originally sent this one to me. So, yeah, give me a little bit of history on this one.
Well, this is taken in Oregon. And since then, I've made a latex mold of it.
Okay.
To where I can make a copy. I don't make very many copies. I know exactly how many this one is.
Awesome.
And you're about number 5.
Okay. I'll take that number.
And, people who I care about the most has one. My mom, my dad, a couple other significant others, and myself.
Okay.
But I have the ability to produce them, but I know the latex is getting old. I know there's not many more that I can probably make from it.
Okay.
It still has some detail, dermal ridge lines, some grass, stuff like that. But it's getting worn thin. I feel like this is the average size of an adult.
Okay, of an adult Sasquatch.
Yes.
That is the average size.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and I do since I've been in this researching from the West Coast to, don't take this, but back east, I guess.
Yeah.
Not here, but just in the west. The more further west I go, the smaller the prints get. The more wider they get, the more bulkier they are.
Okay.
And I kind of affiliate that with water, vegetation, soil, food. The things that the West Coast, I mean, look at our Kodiak bears. They're a coastal bear. They're a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
They are very large.
So you're saying the farther west you go, the larger they get.
That's what I see.
Okay. And that's what I've heard too.
Yeah. Due to the fact that there's more food.
Okay.
There's more time to grow. There's just the vegetation, and I think that they're opportunistic. They will eat what they can.
Okay.
So you go where it's drier, the soil's not as good, less food, different diet.
Sure.
The foot just shrinks.
Yeah.
I think maybe they don't get over 8 feet tall once you get deep in the West.
And that's a good point. I was with Aaron Spencer not too long ago, Chippewa Indian from here in Michigan. And, Aaron kind of shed some insight about, around here in Michigan, they're even dumpster diving, to get their food.
Yeah.
So, that makes a lot of sense.
I believe it. When you get to that size, I'm not 8 foot. I'm not 600 or 800 pounds, but I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. I know I can eat quite a bit. I know if I work, I have to eat.
Okay.
I know I can sweat. I don't believe these have the ability to sweat. I think they're more on the animal side, animal kingdom, to where maybe they have glands to where these smells that people think they or report that they smell.
The sulfur smell or the wet dog smell.
It could be a controlled smell from a gland.
So like a skunk. It
like
can
a skunk,
release
yes.
it when it wants to?
Yes.
Or okay, interesting.
And, if they do release that smell, if your dog's ever been sprayed by a skunk, whenever he gets wet for months to come, he smells a little bit different from just a skunk.
Okay.
He does smell like a rotten dog, and he does smell like a rotten skunk when he gets wet.
Right.
I just had to go through one of those this past summer. And, they don't even start smelling like a skunk for probably a week later.
Okay.
But still, when they get wet, they got that residual smell and whatever other smells that they picked up.
Sure.
And if they are diving into carrion, that's pretty gnarly. That's some good rot. Awesome. And they're going to carry that smell. And of course, when it gets hot, when it gets warm, when they get wet, it's just gonna be gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have not ever smelled Sasquatch.
Okay. Okay. We went to some pretty interesting places. Like, I didn't even realize were there that you found. You know, we got a nice video of a buck just kind of bedded down, looking around. He didn't even know we were there.
You were doing a good job.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We were in some ravines I didn't even know were there. You know, you took us down, and then that's where we found that print over there. And you're like, yeah, these things, they can. If they're moving in and out of places, if they're nocturnal, they're coming and going. I had so many people, they're not around here, or they're not in Michigan, or they're barely in Michigan. They are in more places than you think. Because where we were was actually a secluded plot of forest. I don't know, what do you think? 5 by 5, 5 square miles, 10 square miles?
Well, what I see is the whole drainage. It's almost like it's a path.
Okay.
If you can get in that path, you feel safe in that path. These are the things that I look for. If you feel safe, you have escape routes, if you have the ability to collect food, if you're by water. These are all survival instincts that I take into account. It's the same thing if I'm trying to find whatever's there. I got to think like them. I have to think as an animal.
Sure.
I won't stay on that trail. I will be off that trail, past the brush, where I'm in the timber, where I can see through all that. And I can see any of my potential prey or potential harm.
Yeah, and I loved it because the aspect of where you found these footprints, because I hadn't told you prior where we found our footprints, a few months ago. I just kind of let you go at it, and then you found the footprints in that same general area, just in more secluded spots. So yeah, you were quite amazing, and I definitely tip my hat to you, and I wish you could move here to Michigan so we could search more together.
No, you gotta come out west.
Okay, I'm coming. Yeah, I've got the invite to Montana by the Blackfeet Indian. We're going to get out there. We're going to visit Kevin True in Colorado Springs.
Kevin.
Yeah, Porcupine Bigfoots.
Yes.
So we're going to hit his location where he had his eyewitness sighting of a mother and an adolescent, and they were dealing with a porcupine. They had pulled out of a tree. So yeah, we're going to do all that. So I'm excited to get out there. Let's get back to some of your stories, your encounters. What were some of the other encounters?
Oh man, well, there's a time where I was up in the Blue Mountains on the west side.
Okay.
I was kind of told, hey, go look around here. So I did. I was by myself, my dog and I, which I trust very, very dearly. And God bless her soul, she's gone now. Aww. But, I went as far as I could go in two-wheel drive. And from there, I go, well, that's it. There was really nothing around. There was logging from that winter. So there's a lot of debris and whatnot. And basically, I just got suited up, and I took a contour road that was going around the ridges and going into the draws and coming out still on the contour. So basically, where I parked, I had a level walk.
Okay.
So you really can't beat that, especially when you're out, first time, new lands. It's good to not go so deep. Kind of get familiar with your territory before you have to get lost.
Sure, baby steps.
Count on a cell phone 25 years ago to save your ass, and that might not happen.
Right.
So it's springtime, and that's another good choice of ideas to keep in mind. If you're gonna go out there, if you're gonna look for these things, you gotta figure out, hey, where's the snow line at? Where's the possible food at? Is it a winter habitat? What has gone there and maybe been taken by another predator? But the easy carrying. And if you're big, you don't want things really hard on your body. I mean, bigger things take more energy. As far as being out of the tree line, being all the way away from food, way up in the Himalayas at 26,000 feet, walking across a snowfield. I mean, we do some weird things as humans too.
Sure.
But I try to take in perspective of where my instincts will want to take me, my survival instincts.
Okay.
Things I'm going to need, things that I'm going to want along the way. And so you pick these environments to where stuff's happening.
Right.
So I knew that there's still snow in the shady spots. So I was walking down a road and wow, here's like some ice prints in the mud all by themselves. And yeah, they are heel over toe. And as they got closer to the snow, probably 3 feet of snow because of the shade tree,
right.
They went from just like an old boot print with no kind of distinguishable marks to wow. Before the snow, before it started accumulating snow, there was toes. So I don't know how many Sorel boots have toes sticking out externally, but
right.
these were having toes, and you can see where heel over toe. You know, the shadow, the snow was probably 3 feet deep. You could look down in there, and it was a hard packed print.
Okay.
And just the opposite on the other side, just the same side I just walked in from. As it walked out, boom, here's their ice print. Here's the ice print with toes. It's still heel over toe, and then it just fades into mud. And you may have some distance. You may have another tree with some more shade. I mean, it was cool. Now it's like now your alert's up. You are highly aware of everything. You're not the only one there. You're not alone.
Yeah.
So you keep on going, and whatever road goes contour to a hill, you're gonna run into more snow because you're gonna come to that draw. And when I got to that draw, there were another full-size print track that picked up with it. Wow. And some other ones. The smaller ones were harder to distinguish, but the only way you could tell is the heel over toe. And they kind of had they had this fun in this snowy part. And thinking of, the snow, I mean, it was kind of a miserable, kind of dreary, kind of drizzly afternoon. But in that draw, with the cold snow all throughout it, it just still will channel that cold air down.
Okay.
If I was a big beast, hey, that'd be a great time to sit down. And that's exactly what I had. I had a body print in the snowbank. You can see the back of its legs. You see where the heels were. You can see where the arms sat.
Wow.
The butt. And it was probably fairly wide.
Okay.
It was wider than any kind of bigger person would ever travel that far into and sit down.
Wow.
The type of weather, weather can always change just from 100 yards. You could be in the sun, snow is melting. You could be in the draw where it's still 38 degrees and
sure.
Nothing's really moving. I would figure that these prints were the whole excitement that was there was maybe 2 days old.
Okay.
Just from the amount of melt and how much things have maybe melted out some. I know there wasn't a lot of, fallen needles. There wasn't a lot of debris on top of snow. You really couldn't tell from any kind of mosses or whatever lichens that have fallen out of the tree that if there's hair. But, back in one of the old books of Bigfoot, there's a paperback book. I think it was the John Green books.
Okay.
They have a picture of supposedly the first ever gorilla shot back in Africa. And these big, proud British guys, they had this thing propped up, like this. And looking at it, just how they had it positioned, you could have laid that same thing right back into the snow, and it would have covered exactly almost what I seen.
Wow.
So, I did call up my friend. He did bring a witness. He was thinking I had tracks in the mud. Well, no, he was surprised that I had tracks in the snow. He's seen the toes, and that's when he just kind of whipped around with the camera and just while he was talking and I got a phone call. It was surprising. I got a phone call on my brand new Sprint pull-out phone with a little antenna.
Right.
I felt cool, man. I wish someone could see me talking on that phone.
Right.
But he's like, dude, I think I filmed a Bigfoot. I'm like, what? And he's on his way back up. So, you know, I had to wait about an hour or so. He showed back up and he flipped the screen out on that little camera, and there's definitely something there.
Wow.
And bears were just coming out during that time. I did not run across the bear track till the next day.
Okay.
And that was very, very fresh. That was, 100 yards from where I parked. It was walking through the snow. And it was just what bears do. They roam. He wasn't on no hunt. He was just going, walking around. And, you know, Blue Mountains, they have pretty good sized bears. Everything there in the Blue Mountains seems like it's supersized.
Wow.
And I know that's because of the moisture, the soil, and the food. And they got some pretty strict hunt laws there too. But for me being there and running across the first bear track the next day, I covered a lot of ground in the 2 days before, and I never cut one bear track. So, you know, when bears wake up, they wake up and then they're out. Or they might just be one out there walking for miles, and you cut his track. But for the most part, what he's seen up on that hillside, if it was a bear, the bear would be not concerned about us. The
Okay.
bear's too far away.
Sure.
There's no way the bear could hear us, could see us, could smell us. But something seen us. Something took a notice at us. Something got down. Something slid away.
Wow.
And that was it. And you would figure, well, look where it's going to come out. It never comes out. I would think it went down and it hunkered and it stayed hidden.
Okay.
And it watched us. And we had no idea.
For sure.
So that next day he came back out, like I said, and we sat back up in the same spot. And me, myself, and I, no one would go over there. I would. Hey, I like doing that stuff. And walking up to this stump, you know, they were guiding me to where it was. You know, the stump was 28 inches across inside the bark. Very, very close in similarity. That head fit within almost that 28-inch stump.
Wow.
And the body was definitely twice the size of that stump.
Oh my goodness.
And due to the fact that, you know, the light was coming in, you could enhance it. You could filter it some, you know, go from like a warm setting to a cool setting. You could see how it had black hair. And when sun hits black, it shines, it sheens. When the sun directly hits that certain peak, you won't see nothing. It will be just shined out. But as the shadows come, now you see muscle. Now you see a hand. You see pecs. You see that cone head. You see it look, and you see it look where it's going. You see it looking back at us, and then you see it go.
Wow.
You see the legs, the legs, clearly the arms were way bigger than the legs. And the torso on it was huge.
Yeah, so the larger upper torso and the longer arms in proportion to the legs.
Yeah,
you know.
and some of that could have been, you know, the angle of the hill to where it got down and slid out. You know, I mean, you don't see that with bears.
Right.
And like I said, bears, they don't. If you don't scare them and get real close to them, and then scare them, you know, they don't run. They could care less if you're that far away. You know. Okay. But you know, with the zoom on this new camera of 25 years ago, you know, it was the top of the line. And then, you know, when we got back to his house, you know, we could play with it on his VHS and stuff like that. And it was amazing that, wow, this thing seen us, and this thing recognized us as a threat, and it got away, just like that. So that kind of made that next night, I mean, sit with me a little bit less better, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Yeah. So I know I slept in my car. You know, I didn't sleep in my tent that night.
Okay. A little more protection.
Yeah, until you wake up and you lift your head up and you hit your back of your hatch of your car. You know, you're like, a little bit of panic stricken.
Right.
But after all that, you know, that was I felt like, you know, heck, we got excellent evidence in the snow. We had more than one creature. We had body prints. We had everything.
Right.
We never went any further than that because I know that road, it went out on a south-facing ridge, and we didn't see any snow. If we probably wouldn't have got no more snow until who knows when the road even ran out.
Sure.
But it would have been a long time from that. And furthermore, I think within 30 feet, you see one go right up the hillside there, tracks. The other ones, I couldn't tell because there is so much, I would call it playtime right there in that corner.
Okay.
And hey, it looked good. It looked like someone sat, someone observed, bunch of horseplay, and they just kind of went to different directions.
Yeah.
They disbanded just like that.
Okay.
And the big person that sat in the snow, I tell you, they didn't walk back down the road. They went right back into the trees too.
Sure.
So they weren't wearing snowshoes. They were the same prints, heel over toe.
Cool. 2 years ago, we had a gentleman track what he believed was a male and a female. You know, we're in Sandusky, Michigan right now, so just west of here. I believe it was in the Carroll area. You know, we've had multiple sightings there. We've been dealing with different episodes there, different eyewitnesses there this whole season. And but this individual tracked two, you know, like you said, heel to toe, a pair of them all the way up to Fish Point. And I might take you out there tomorrow. Fish Point is on the western coast of the thumb of Michigan, and it's very marshy. There's reeds for miles and just, you know, a great hunting area, but a very interesting location where there's been a handful of sightings as well. So you and I might go out there tomorrow. And then you've got another encounter, which is kind of my favorite. You're with a television crew or something?
Yeah. And it was kind of one of those deals to where I was invited to go. So I'm like, sure, you know, this is great. Because remember, you know, I'm like this person that has seen Bigfoot, has witnessed Bigfoot, has seen it on camera, has seen it in person. Mm-hmm. And being more progressively gone, what are you doing? I'm going to go hunt for something that don't exist, you know, basically.
Sure.
And, you know, I would get ridiculed, criticism, and that's when I was there. I don't know what the hell was said when I was gone.
Right.
But I didn't have to worry about that because my idea was, you know, I can see something that's real. I don't know how or why, or I'm hunting for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't look at what you're stepping on, you never know what you're going to step on.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't look in the sky, how do you know there's going to be stars there? It's just, you got to look.
Yeah, it's a different perspective. You've seen this thing, and I don't know what the percentage of the population is anymore, but there are still a ton of naysayers. I told you this before. I block and delete at least one person a week, you know, off the site who's, you know, ridiculing one of my members or whatever. But yeah, I'm not putting up with it because they're real. You know, I've never seen one myself, but I know you, and now I know multiple people who have had an encounter that has changed their life. So yeah, you get ridiculed, but you're just like, you know what, you guys are idiots, man. You move on.
You know, I also know that there's people, you know, say that if there's 75% of people who claim they've seen them, what type of people are they? Are they legit people? Well, cut that in half.
Sure.
Do they know what they're looking at? Trim another 20% off.
Oh, good point.
Are they saying this because they want to be famous? You know,
right?
Deduct another 10%. Now you're getting down in the low 30%. But how many people have seen something that have the clout, have the job, have the family? Maybe they're a police officer, maybe they're someone important, maybe they're a deacon to a church, maybe they're somebody that they're going to have to hold on to that fact for the rest of their life. They have no one to tell. They got too much at risk to run their mouth, to come out in public. Oh,
sure.
I seen something that doesn't exist. Well, then you're named crazy, and you're whatever else. Well, a lot of these people that I found out through secret funds of some way or another, they will chip money into the research.
Okay.
They'll be an anonymous donator.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, I have to respect that.
Yeah.
If I had a position that I had to protect, I would probably do that too.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to run for president seeing Bigfoot, all right? But you might be better off right now if you did,
Right.
Who knows? I mean, 81 million votes, believe in Bigfoot, all right? So add back to that production, there were a few different productions there, and I always wanted to go with one, and I got the longest straw, so I got to pick that production crew. And I went to a county that had no whatsoever history of it.
Oh.
So that was kind of the thing of, if you win, you pick, but if whatever you get left over is what you get.
Okay.
So, and really, Asotin County is in Washington, is in the Blue Mountains. There's no history there. No history in any books or whatnot. I'm not saying that people haven't seen something, but these are some of these people that just don't say nothing.
Right.
So here I am. I don't really know where I was going either. I had a 2.0 Trimble or a Garmin GPS, which is basically like your, I don't know, first generation Apple computer. So
Okay.
they don't really have very many graphics on it. But I was following roads. It did that just fine. So I just parked. It looked like I could hike off in the woods, pitch a tent, and it was pretty late at night. So I did that, and of course my dog was with me. And all that night, I could hear a crick run, and I swear I could hear something creaking and popping. But the production guys, they stayed down their van or whatnot, and well, hey, first logging trucks go by, it kind of wakes you up, and the dust comes off the road, and you get out of your tent, and the beams of light are coming through the forest canopy, and it looks pretty cool. So I wanted to go to this source of water because I was thirsty, and
Okay.
I think I could probably trust a drink out of it. And my God, there's just like this beam of light, boom, right on a print. I mean, how do you notice a print? I mean, they're huge, right?
Right.
But with such a big foot, with such a distribution of weight, what does it take to actually leave a foot behind? It takes maybe I don't know. It's amazing, but
Yeah.
it does happen. And so I was like, here comes my dog, man. She's running down the trail, and I'm like, I yelled at her so bad. It took her like a couple hours just to become normal again. She thought I was going to kill her, but I didn't want her to run right over this print because she's pretty happy to see me. So I got the crew out there, and we filmed myself casting this print, and it was kind of on a bank,
Okay.
which was difficult to cast. And I was probably saying the F-bomb way too many times.
Okay.
So it took a while, but I needed that while to think, man, what was next? So it was done. I go, so what's next? And they go, well, follow it. Okay, well, I'm a babysitter, so let's take your kids for a walk. So
Sure.
from that point, I never went anywhere forward. I sat there and I waited, and I go, just take a break, and they're like, why? And I go, just take a break. And I just sat there, I observed, it was like the 20th of June. I was close to 6,000 feet. The snow was disappearing. The grass is coming up. And I know when I walk through young shoots of grass, it's only a matter of time, especially a warm morning, the sun's beaming in, the grass shoots will start to pop up. And if you just gotta look. You just have to be patient. If you see something, make a mental note. If you see more than one, go out there and mark them. But don't walk where you're gonna be needing to look more.
Sure.
So that's an iffy. And remember where you walk. Keep that same place so when all that stuff wants to spring up, you're not getting double sprung yourself.
Right.
So there's a couple magic numbers that I have. I don't know if I should say them or not, but for you guys out there, 38 to 43 inches. That is a numbers that I go by, something I learned, something I was told, and something that does pay off. That's from the heel to the toe
Okay.
on each consecutive step. That's just a normal walk. I'll pull a rag tape. I'll run it out there. I will check those numbers, and I will, if you go out there and you see something where something has popped up, well, look around. I mean, maybe there's some more that are still laid down, and get out in front of it and look back. All right, you'll see what you want. You'll see what you need to see.
Yeah,
it's there. It's maybe not deep in the ground. It may be very light foot. Like I said, these are pretty soft pads, and small grasses. I mean, any kind of sticks. I mean, they can hold any kind of foot from going through and making any kind of mark at all.
Okay, impressive.
But yep. So my numbers matched up, and I reeled it back up, and I go, "Let's go." And here they were. They wanted to walk right down my only direction. So I had to scream at them some. I had to teach them. Hey, I said, "Follow me." It means follow me. It doesn't mean follow down there. It means follow me. And I'm sorry if you have to pack that heavy camera. You got a guy wearing a backpack for you. Tell him to follow you, and everybody will follow in a straight line. So that day, probably for the next couple hours, I was definitely telling stories. I was definitely pulling stuff from my butt and everything else, trying to make it all work. But deep in my mind, I was concentrating about what possible ways could this thing go. Because there are times, hey, you run out of shoots, of grass, and you get into needles, and you get into stuff that hasn't even generated back yet from the winter.
Right.
So you kind of have to pick your own path. I mean, that's where I put myself in the perspective of my experience in the woods, where I would go.
Okay.
So we got to this spot to where there's some giant spruce trees. It was shady, and the geology of the Blue Mountains is basically they're a granite pluton underneath, and there's basalt that has capped it. And the granite has sprung back up, has pushed the mountains up, but there's still a good cap of basalt on those. Well, all these spruce roots are all intertwined, and down below into the roots, you'll see 3 or 4 feet down, it's just like a running creek. Okay. And we took a break, and all day long, or that morning and start of the afternoon, my dog, she loved to point. She loved to point out everything, like squirrels, like birds, and everything else. And I learned how to trust my dog. And I know if I kept on walking, if it was just a bird, if it's just a squirrel, she's going to run. She's going to get it before I spook it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But some stuff spooked us all because, there was no bird.
Right.
But she's so smart that, that bird was down off the bank. It was far away. And how'd she know it was there? I don't know. But this time when we were sitting there, she ballooned up like like someone stuck her paw in an electrical socket. I mean, she was boom. And there's another thing too. If I got out in front of my dog, I could look at her eyes, and she'd look at me, and she would slowly drag her eyes back.
Okay.
And if you could make a line, that's where you'd want to look. So I kept walking a little bit out in front of her, and she was 3-footed and just pointed. And she was not running out in front of me. She was not going to go flush this, whatever this is.
Wow.
So I go, "Hey, Mark, get your camera ready." He's like, man, what, another effing bird? I go, "Just get it ready, man. Look at my dog." And as soon as he got that on his back, this thing just sprung. I was looking way past it.
Okay.
I still have that problem with a lot of things. It seems like you're looking for something, but you're not seeing what's right in front of your face.
Yeah, you're looking off.
And here I was actually looking for things right in front of my face, but I couldn't see past my face, And so this time I was looking for something that was right in front of me, probably 100 feet away. And this was all, I mistook it for a big stump, but, I'm thinking big stump. Well, this stump was something you find on the West Coast, I thought it had tree. I mean, I was not thinking it was it.
Right.
And it just stood at probably at 2:00 and went perpendicular from us. And every 4 steps, the front legs would come down.
Wow.
Front arms would come down. And it did that twice. And then right about 10:00, there's a spruce tree that wasn't tangled in with all the avatar trees that we had here. And it swung on that as like it perpetuated its momentum, and it even made it go faster.
Wow.
And that tree come ripping out of the ground, So by chance he didn't go with it, but he did. He hit that tree, and now he's boom, he's gone, and you can hear him just. So
wow, just moving out.
Charge, let's go, and we got to the point to where 13 seconds of footage was filmed. I about couldn't talk. I was a little jittery. The last guy that said told me to follow it. I go, so what's next? He goes, let's go. And I was, I wasn't permitted to show a weapon. I could have a weapon on me, but it had to have been zipped up, not be able to be shown. And, did I even unzip my coat? No. If it came at us, could have done some damage? Yeah.
For sure.
We would have been the next case missing in the woods. Because everything was so fast. 5 seconds, man, and it was out of our sight. So
and that's what I hear most sightings are. They're fast. They are quick. When you have a sighting, it happens and then it's over.
And that's where your experience of what you see, and not let your mind play games. You got to be aware. You have to go look at what you've seen. You have to go face your fear. You have to go see the ground. You have to see whatever it was, what kind of tracks it made.
Sure.
In your mind, you have a big giant box that you put all this information in, and you don't forget it. Every time that you're a kid that you played in the mud and you made a track here or there, and then you go back the next day, you do it again and again and again.
Sure.
You see that progressively adding in your mind. And, I was always wondering, hey, how's all this ever going to pay off?
Yeah.
Well, in tracking, it does, because you remember what things were like and what environments were like. If it's sunny, if it's cloudy, if it's rainy, what exactly action did you do to make that mark? Mm-hmm. Well, it did it. It ran down and away. It went up this hill, probably about like the hills that we were doing
Sure.
This past few days. It jumped up there, and boom, it was speed walking, and it was looking over its shoulder, and it look over its shoulder, and it just walked out of sight.
Did you get a sense for was it a male or female? I like asking the simple questions.
I think
male or female.
I'm
size.
I'm not 50 yet, but I'm starting to gray up. His face was graying up.
Okay.
He might have had. It's definitely auburn, brown, reddish brown.
Okay.
But his beard was getting white, or his mane, or whatever you want to call it. And he was cruising. I mean,
I bet.
And one of the cameramen, he didn't quite make it. He had an accident, and so that's a good reason we probably turned back too. I probably couldn't feel anything below this level either.
Okay.
But that's why when you stop and take a break, you take a leak. So you
Sure.
never know what's going to happen. And it surprised me. And from that, another experience. So as I mentioned that, when you see things, you tell your neighbor guy that he has gone hunting his whole life. And,
Right.
And of course he laughs at you too. And I still have friends that, are been in war and been hunting their whole lives, and they haven't ever seen anything yet either. And maybe they weren't looking. I mean, you got to see something big.
Yeah.
You got to train your mind for something that's similar to a human print and supersize it by a whole bunch.
Okay.
And then be open-minded. I mean, think out of the box. But don't dream up of things. That's for sure. So my neighbor guy, he comes back over. He's gone now to, his name is Rick. And he always has a chuckle and stuff, but he liked to do a late buck season along the same reservoir that I had my first experience in. Now this is like 8 years later, probably.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, Darrick, just look at this. And he had a couple copies he got from his printer, but he also had the original photograph. And he had his boot on the mud because, all these lakes, they always, lower them down a whole bunch during the summer and fall for the spring runoff. So this particular place was flat. I mean, it's a good place to park a fiberglass boat, you know, because there was no rocks. It was just mud. And he has these pictures, a couple pictures, these tracks, heel over toe, coming in, and woo, you know, they started slipping, kind of like how you or I would, like on some ice.
All right.
And I know you could be big and great, an elephant, whatever. You know, everything will get stuck in the mud. I mean, nothing likes that vulnerable, oh crap experience. I'm going to maybe be stuck in the mud.
Right.
It slipped and skedoodled, and it slipped out, and it got back to where it was drained enough to where it had a foothold, and it walked away. Well, in that angle, here we have little feet.
Oh, wow.
And this is where I first experienced what little feet are. You know, little feet are just like these feet. They're not as big.
Sure.
But just as, you know, a cougar or a bobcat or a dog, you know, you can kind of tell how big they're going to get by the size of their feet. Their adolescent feet are already well above what they are as a juvenile. Okay. You know, they got to grow into them. And I think that's why smaller Squatches are harder to find, because they don't have the weight, and now they got a big fluffier foot.
Oh, for sure.
The potential for them to leave a mark is even less.
Oh yeah, I mean the print we got the other day, I think, you know, that it looked like a pivoting print. If that thing would not have maybe put pressure on that print and pivoted, maybe we might not have got that castable print.
Yeah, because there's leaves on the ground, you know, and you know the print still may be in the mud, but they got leaves.
Yeah.
How would you know?
Sure.
Just by chance, you guys have worms that are all over the place, and thank God there are some worm mounds that I noticed that squished down fresh dirt.
Right.
And you know, I couldn't, you know, it was fresh. I mean, it was fresher than some prints,
Okay.
like the two in order right above us.
Yeah.
I think they were part of the same consecutive line, maybe.
Okay.
And you know, if that one print got there, it had to get there somehow. So, yeah, I could have pulled a rag tape, and I could have, but there was nothing there to spring up, you know. So we'd probably still be there.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, we're fortunate what we got, you know.
Hey, you
under
know,
the circumstances.
you know, and I was doubtful coming here, but I told you, man, hey, if it's there, I'll find it.
Yeah. I loved it because, you know, the first location we went to, you know, we went out, we were vigilant, looked for it, but no, I didn't see any light bulbs go off, you know, over the top of your head. But we got to that second location, and you were like, yeah. So already you were like, yeah, something's going on here. You were there in the nighttime as well, and you were saying you didn't hear any kind of wildlife going on. Dead silent. Just all the conditions were there. You know, you felt, and that's where we found the prints. So.
Yeah, and if you walk, you know, back to the car and across the road in the fields, that's where all the game is.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they be
Right.
in all the fields right there?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. Why weren't they right there? Yeah.
They're just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a public area, but you know, they could easily be on the other side of the road too.
For sure. I think they knew a predator's in there, and
there are tracks there. You know, but I never seen really mosey and deer tracks. I seen you know, alert tracks. I seen stomp tracks. I seen stuff getting through there.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were trying to make a residence. And the buck that we did see that was bedded down, you know, he had a good backdrop of a steep enough slope. I wouldn't want to go down it.
Right.
And there would be no way you could get down it without alerting that deer.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to still cross a river.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to worry about his six, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So, but we got him.
Yeah.
And you know, we got to observe him while we made noise.
Sure.
He was not too concerned about us.
Right.
I mean, he was pointing in the direction that he had to be concerned about.
Yeah. Well, Darrick, it's been a great sit down. We have 2 days more before we got to drop you off at the airport. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I want to give a special thanks and special shout outs to the people that follow me and the people that believe in me and what I'm doing. Major special thanks to my boy James, and thank you for allowing your dad to disappear for will be 8 days. And special thanks to the people I work with for covering for me and making things match up so I could get this done.
Right.
I've never been out here. It's a awesome. It's a nice state.
Awesome, man. Well, I mean, shake my hand.
Oh yeah.
Much more in store for the both of us. I mean, individually and as a team. So very excited. So, as we always say, stay tuned for more of Bigfoots of Michigan.